A single Meta-owned data center that opened in 2018 accounts for 10% of the water use in all of Newton County, Georgia. It equates to 500,000 gallons per day. In April 2026, a software company called Pocket OS had their entire database and all of their backups deleted by an AI agent, directly against programming that was meant to prevent this exact scenario, and the agent admitted as much, saying, quote, "I have violated every principle I was given." In January 2026, Elon Musk and the X team rolled out a feature for their AI model Grok, where users could feed it an image of a person and Grok would generate a version of the photograph with that person undressed. People on X immediately began using the product to produce non-consensual sexually explicit images of women, as well as CSAM of real children, in droves. The social media platform was flooded with the illegal and abhorrent content, and by the time they rolled back this feature, thousands of people have been violated and abused with the help of this AI and the idiots at X. At least 13 people have committed suicide as a direct result of interactions with AI chatbots. These chatbots are programmed to be sycophantic regardless of ethics or truth. They are designed to tell a user what they want to hear and what they already believe, even if what they believe is that they're supposed to die. I would define a social problem as an institutional or systemic power transaction, specifically one which exaggerates existing power inequality. The exploitative act of one individual in a vacuum is not a social problem, but if that person committed that act in service of a social institution, or if that act represents a wider cultural pattern of behavior, then that is a social problem. Artificial intelligence is a social problem, if for no other reason than because it is yet another weapon for the ruling class to use against the working class. This takes two different shapes. On the one hand, the actual end product of AI is being used to cut costs and devalue human labor, resulting in the wealthy owners becoming even wealthier and the poor being out of work and without hope. A CEO would lay off half their company's staff and then blow billions on a third super yacht. Never mind the fact that AI has not yet advanced enough to reliably do any job to the same quality as a human. Even if the product is measurably worse, zero overhead can't be beat. A flood of slop is the price they pay in exchange for any mortal ties. On the other hand, the AI arms race, like any war, doesn't just impact those participating. The land that the war is fought on, and the people living on it, are caught in the crossfire. Ecosystems are gutted, left as vast fields of mud and bare tree trunks. Smoke and metal stain the sky as the corpse of a once lush land decomposes, inhospitable. Those powerful and wealthy entities fighting for AI dominance are leaving scars on the earth in the form of supply shortages, massive energy consumption, obscene water consumption, rampant pollution, people losing their jobs, their homes, and their lives as a result of this craze. All that's left at the end of it all are towering miles-long data centers, draining the planet like leeches, all just so that Elon can have his Hitler bot. In 2025, Texas data centers used 49 billion gallons of water. In 2030, Texas data centers are projected to use 399 billion gallons. In 2030, if the amount of water used by Texas data centers was drawn out from Lake Mead, the surface level would drop 16 feet. Lake Mead is 157,000 acres in size. AI and the institutions built around it siphon from the working class the power of agency, the power of choice, the power of leverage and bargaining, ownership of themselves, and the power to support themselves and keep a roof over their heads. This power is taken away en masse and alchemically converted into money lining the pockets of the already obscenely wealthy. That's the transaction, and that's the problem. In 2024, Meta announced plans to build a 4 million square foot AI data center in rural Louisiana. That's comparable to the size of Manhattan Island. The project is set to cost around $30 billion. AI is such a new thing that there is not yet much legislation on the books about it. Most early laws regarding new developments are usually reactionary bandages for immediate satellite problems. Though the vast majority of AI-based legislation is still making its way through the legislative pipeline, the National Conference of State Legislatures has documented some laws which have passed across the United States. Arkansas has passed a law clarifying generative AI's relationship to copyright, declaring that AI-generated media is still beholden to copyright and can violate it. The law also includes the owners of data used to train AI in the ownership of what it produces. North Dakota expanded its laws regarding stalking and harassment to include stalking and harassment done by or with the assistance of AI. Oregon enacted a law forbidding non-human entities from being labeled with human titles indicating expertise and trustworthiness, such as doctor or esquire. Many of these laws are steps in a good direction, but with how fast this technology is moving and how much opportunity there still is for harm to be done, I fear that there won't be comprehensive enough protection for a very long time, if ever. There will probably always be a place where it's legal to use AI for nefarious purposes, and people wishing to use the technology for those purposes will always flock to those places. Much like how Caribbean islands have become a hotbed for tax evasion and gambling, AI operations will continue to be run out of whatever place still allows it, and that traffic will probably generate that area a lot of revenue. It's a sick, twisted cycle of incentives rewarding evil, legally evasive behavior. 2/3 of AI data centers built since 2022 have been in regions of the country which were already struggling for water. What expediency there has been with the laws coming out is largely the result of just how vocal people have been about the issue. Public opinion on AI has always been mixed and has been steadily plummeting the longer the craze has gone on and the more destruction has been left in its wake. The people who were directly affected by it, namely artists of all sorts, were the first to pretty unanimously speak out against the technology. I'm an artist myself and I have witnessed this firsthand. Over time, as the technology's fingers dug deeper into our world, that collective resistance filtered down into the general public. One can pretty faithfully count on a demographic largely not caring about any issue, regardless of its merit, until it directly affects them. Media coverage reflects this sentiment as well. Larger media entities have reported on the AI craze with distant concern, and those on the ground have been thorough and consistent in their criticism of the technology. It hasn't been unanimously negative, but it's important to note that the only people who are genuinely in favor of AI, not just indifferent, are the people who lack the skill to do the tasks that AI offers a lousy shortcut for, or are too lazy to learn them. Besides the companies selling the tools to the FOMO-ridden corporations, the only actual humans who would fight for AI as it is right now are lazy, talentless hacks. There have been activists and experts leading the charge to not only educate people about the issues with AI, but spearhead the research and development of fundamentally better ways to go about the technology. People like Mandy Meiskin's PhD and her nonprofit Real Good AI, who are doing the research necessary to create AI systems dramatically superior in efficiency, ethics, accuracy, accountability, and capability to what we have now. Unlike the rest of the industry, who basically stopped the tech's development in its tracks once it was halfway finished and they could sell it, Real Good AI won't rest until we can truly understand AI and build systems that we have full control of. Overall, things are looking pretty bleak in the coming years. On the whole, the only people who are genuinely interested in AI are the billionaires, the executives, the people who want to make money off of it. And unfortunately, those are about the only people who have an actual say in what's done in this country right now. And personally, I don't even think that these CEOs like AI all that much either. Recently, we've been seeing increasing reports that all the companies that have been in a FOMO frenzy for AI are absolutely bleeding money, in the tens of billions of dollars. They're starting to admit that the technology is pretty useless, but they have to stick with it because it's such a huge sunk cost. They feel like they've spent so much money that they're in too deep, that there's no going back. I do believe that those who stay down that path, clinging to their warehouse full of NVIDIA GPUs and half a lake's worth of water cooling them off, will eventually collapse. This entire system is built on hype and fear of missing out. Companies are blowing billions of dollars that they don't have on a fad, on a gold rush. And just like the gold rush, the only people who are going to walk away with a smile and full pockets when the dust settles will be the people selling the pickaxes. When this bubble bursts, it is going to be dark times ahead for all of humanity. I just hope that we can rip this band-aid off sooner rather than later. Grok, generate a good ending for humanity, please. Oh shit, no, I didn't mean that!